So, were we offended by the question?
No, we really weren't. I think we understood where the person was coming from.
Yep.
Here we go. Yeah.
Wow. Hey everybody, this is Bill.
And this is Elizabeth with Live Simple,
Live Free. And we did a video a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, answering a question that somebody asked. And so this video is actually a response to a lot of the comments we got on that video.
It's a response to the response of our response.
So just so you know what we're talking about, I'll show you the question again. And a lot of people actually saw this as a very rude question, but we do not. So we want to explain that. So the question was, Reba Crow asked, I'm not trying to be ugly, but I thought y'all wanted to live tiny. Y'all must have gotten some money. Y'all are living good. And so we understand this question.
Yeah.
And we get this question actually quite a bit. And here's the thing, she wasn't asking how much money we make. She was asking about our debt-free lifestyle.
Well, how in the world were we able to do this?
Right.
Yeah.
So we were not at all offended by the question. We completely understand the question because a lot of you responded on that video saying that you are also debt-free, and that's wonderful.
Oh, it's awesome.
A lot of you completely understand the freedom that we talk about. But the reality is the average American is not debt-free. The average American is taught by their parents or by advertising on TV or whatever that using credit is the way that you live your life. Yeah. And so being debt-free is a foreign concept to them. And so they don't understand it. And they don't understand how we could have the money to build an addition cash when we're not millionaires.
Well, obviously not rich.
So that's why we completely understand the question. But on that video, we got dozens and dozens of people who were offended by that question.
And protective of us,
yes,
which is really sweet.
And we appreciate that,
yes,
you know, but
yes.
Questions like, it's nobody's business but yours how much you make. And some people said, what a rude question. And some people said, you know, it's none of, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to explain your finances. We completely understand those comments as well.
Sure, we understand where people are coming from. Absolutely.
Because asking somebody how much money they make,
or even getting personal about anybody's finances,
is just not socially acceptable.
Yeah.
You just don't do that. So we understand the question of how are you doing this? Did you come into some money? And we understand the question of, well, that's nobody's business but your own. So,
you know, can I address real quick too? We've had several times where people have asked if this has been possible because we got an inheritance from Pop. No, Pop had his Social Security. He didn't have any debt, thankfully, but he basically didn't have anything. The little apartment he lived in up in Pennsylvania was a special seniors apartment. It cost him $280 a month out of his Social Security. And so when we moved him down here to be with us, we knew that he didn't have anything but the Social Security. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. You know, we were able to pay for his funeral because it was a little life insurance policy. But no, just in case anybody's wondering, no, there was no inheritance to anybody in the family. And that's okay. You know, it just, he didn't have to have a lot of money when he died.
Right. So, you know, Elizabeth and I are both just naturally teachers. We love to teach. It's like everything I do, I'm teaching somebody, you know. I mean, I used to be a technical rock climber, and I would love to take new people out to climb and teach them how to climb and teach them the ropes, so to speak.
He was good, by the way.
Teach them how to rappel, that sort of thing. After I retired from the Army band, I taught trombone for a few years. I taught the debt-free seminar in various churches around. I used to do that, and I taught it here on this channel. I've preached occasionally, and I absolutely love it. So everything I do, I teach. You know, even the addition videos, building the addition. Many people will show that and just show what they're doing. I can't stand to do that without explaining why I'm doing it.
Right. Yeah. We want people to actually really understand the process.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Elizabeth is also just a natural teacher.
Well, I've been teaching piano and voice for about 33 years now. And I taught school for a while. I have loved teaching Bible study classes and stuff like that. And of course, I've been about 5 years now, have been doing the Bible study with Tea with Jesus. I love being able to share wonderful stuff with other people and just to maybe have somebody learn something they've never known before. I just think it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
So one of the things that we do on our channel is teach about debt-free living. That's why I did the seminar, how to get out of debt, and we do a video on a regular basis about debt freedom. We love to teach, and we love to teach about debt freedom. So when this question came up, and Reba, if you're watching this, I'm not picking on you. We're not picking on you. You just happen to be one of many questions and comments that we get like that caught my eye, so I use you as an example. But we get a lot of questions like that. So when that question came up, I saw it as an opportunity to continue our teaching about debt freedom.
Yeah, and how this all has really worked and what a difference it can make in anybody's life. Oh my goodness, yes.
And so many of you actually felt the same way. Let me read some of the comments that we got.
Now, before we start reading these, please hear us that for everybody that was very protectively saying, oh, that was rude, we do understand that too. We're not trying to get on anybody's case. We just really want to kind of explain why we went ahead and pursued this.
So Kim Bernard says, I'm actually glad that person asked that question. It triggered you to further explain to your viewers how to achieve these goals.
Top Hat said, I can see there are many people still learning what live simple, live free means. You're still educating, and it's badly needed.
Yep.
Jacinta?
Jacinta?
Pretty name.
Jacinta Reeve?
Yes, Jacinta is just, if we're not pronouncing it correctly, we really apologize. It's a lovely name. Jacinta Reeve.
Great example to the younger families of today.
Carolyn Thompson, you two are a blessing to help teach others how to live debt-free. You're a true witness of how it's done. Thank you for sharing your lives with us. Thank you. Gosh, people are so sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Suzanne F. says, you are just two beautiful and wise people and a wonderful couple. Everyone should be watching your videos to learn valuable lessons. Thanks for sharing your wisdom with us.
This encouragement means so much. Oh my goodness.
You know, sometimes we get really nasty comments and trolls, and that's not what I'm talking about here.
No,
okay?
no, this is not trolls.
None of these are troll questions, but sometimes we get questions like that. And comments like this mean so much to us, so encouraging for us to continue.
Well, you talk to anybody that's on a YouTube channel, and they can tell you how rough it can be sometimes. And it's all the love and encouragement that comes from our viewers that really, really helps and makes a difference. Second Rev Girl, I love hearing your experiences in becoming debt-free and living below your means and saving for emergencies and things you want to do. Such good advice.
Yep. And then here's another one that's a real encouragement. Fireside Coffee. You two are so pleasant. You take your time to answer comments, and when needed, you'll even do a video response. Thanks so much for sharing your experience with us. You guys may not want to believe this, but you make this YouTube community so much better.
It makes me want to cry.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm glad you were here and sharing your life experiences and giving us some great advice. God bless both of you. Thank you.
You guys need to know your words. We really see them. And
We read every comment.
yes, and oh, they can be so encouraging and so sweet. Susan Nielsen said, "You answered the inquiry so calmly and explained the freedom so clearly. I too am debt-free and love it." Thank you, Susan.
So these are people who really understand what we're trying to do in teaching debt freedom, and we really appreciate the comments and the encouragement that we get.
But we also, I also can see the sense of protectiveness and the sense of just trying to have somebody's back.
Right.
When people were like kind of upset about it, I mean, I can see where your heart's coming from on that.
And we appreciate that as well.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
You know, I follow actually quite a few full-time RV channels, and I love them. I would like to be on the road a lot more than we are.
We're working on it.
We will be.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest questions that they get all the time is, how in the world can you afford to do that? People don't understand the lifestyle. How can you just hit the road, quit your job and hit the road? How do you pay for all of that? And so the question for them is the same as it was for us, not how much money do you make, but how in the world do you do that? And many of them actually will give monthly or annual financial reports of how much they spent, how much it cost to live on the road, how they made their money, how much money they made. And it's not so much, bragging about how much they made or bragging on how little they lived on or anything like that. It's just an instructional video for other people who want to be full-time RVers saying, this is how you do it financially.
Yeah, certainly this is how we've done it. I mean, I don't mean us, but I mean, they're just saying this is how it has worked for me.
Right.
Whether it's been the work camp jobs, seasonal jobs, online work, they're just a plethora of ways that they're just sharing that they have made it work.
So I see those questions to us kind of the same as the questions to the full-time RVers. How in the world are you doing this?
Yeah.
So that's why we took the time to explain it, to explain the debt-free philosophy of living, which, like I said earlier, for most Americans is a foreign concept.
I think for a lot of people, coming to the point where they can get out of debt and live with only what they have, and maybe live below their means, the whole thing has to begin with finally going through what we call a paradigm shift of understanding that they do not want debt anymore, and why it is something that they should not have in their life. Getting that point where you change your mind about it is not an easy thing for a lot of people.
Right.
To really believe it can be okay.
Especially if the only thing they've ever been taught, either actually taught or taught by example, is that credit is the way you live your life.
Right.
It's just ingrained in them that's just the way it is. And so that's where it takes a paradigm shift to say, no, there is a better way.
We had friends many, many years ago. He made a very low income. He had a wife and 2 little boys. They're friends of ours at church. He kept his life very, very simple. They had a little tiny house that it was very, very simple. And we were living much more a normal American life at that point, And I remember thinking how amazing it was that when she did have a little bit of cash to go spend to do something, she was very comfortable and happy to do it. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but
There was no guilt.
There was nothing to worry about, no guilt. And I remember thinking, wow, she's doing better than I am on an awful lot less of an income. And I remember that was a little bit eye-opening for me, 30 years ago, to know her and to see kind of how that worked in their life. It took us going through a very rough time, to change how we see things, and we've changed.
Yeah.
And now I realize what a blessing that's actually been. It didn't feel like it for a long time, but what a blessing that has put us into a very different kind of a life now.
And going along with that, quite a few people asked if we have any credit cards, if we use any credit cards. So I want to talk about this. We didn't for a long time. Now we have one credit card with a very low limit on it. We very rarely ever use it, and when we do, we pay it off immediately. And we use it for a specific purpose. Like, for instance, I will use it for a business expense because it helps my accounting to be able to go to the statements for that one business, for that one card, to see the business expenses, and we pay it all. As soon as I spend the money on that card, I'll pull the money right out of our checking account and put it into a savings account set aside to pay off that bill at the end of the month.
Yeah, we don't use it and then, well, at the end of the month we should have enough to pay it. That's still promising future earnings. If we ever put anything on that little, it's a Discover card, on that little Discover card, immediately we know we've got the money, we put it into a separate account so that when we pay that bill, I've already had the money set aside. I'm still not promising future income.
Right. Now let me give you caution there. If you decide to do something like that, and some people have said they do that because they get the rewards from the card, but they still pay it off every month. If you're going to do something like that, more power to you if you can get those rewards without paying any interest. But let me caution you, it takes a lot of discipline to be able to have a card and make sure that you absolutely pay it off every month. It's so easy just to say, oh, I can just extend this a couple of extra months.
Right.
Don't ever do that. If you start doing that, get rid of the card.
You know why credit card companies will let people like us get by with having a credit card and paying it off every month, and they don't get all their interest? It's because they know that statistically, eventually most people are going to end up back in debt with it. And the vast majority of people just pay the minimum payment and end up with an amazing amount of interest that they have to pay. We only got that card because when we first knew we'd be moving down here, we realized that we better build a little bit of credit to try to get this house. And we didn't know how much we would need that or not. But now, I'd get rid of it in a second if we ever felt like we needed to. It is never used, period, unless the money is already set aside. And like I said, it helps his accounting, for business stuff. But I would caution somebody to only approach something like that if you're well past the paradigm shift and you see the skull and crossbones on debt.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's important.
It absolutely appalls me when I see ads on TV for credit cards with a 2% cash back, and they make a big deal about all this money you're going to earn. What, are you kidding me? They're charging you 28% and they're going to give you 2% back, and you're earning 2% on your...
I tell you what, I would love if I can give somebody $28, if someone, would give me $28 and then be thrilled because I gave them back $2. If you think about it, they are raking in the money, absolutely raking it in. And so the only time any awards or benefits on a credit card do anybody any good is if they never, ever let themselves develop any interest. They pay it every single month. And you certainly don't want something that you have an annual cost for.
Annual fee.
An annual fee. My goodness, no. And so it has to be very diligent that it's paid on time. Oh, I'd croak if we had like a $35 fee attached on because we were ever late. It has to be paid on time. The money has to be there ahead of time. And so we caution you, if you're going to try to get miles for flying or any kind of awards, you have got to be extremely against debt because it can be so easy. We really need this and we've got this, so this credit card, and we'll be able to pay it back. No, we go back into the same old thing of how we used to trust credit cards instead of God.
Yep.
And ever since we have not used any credit, like I said, we paid the house off as fast as we could. We didn't have any choice about that. But we've never seen God drop the ball. He has been faithful all the way through. You don't have to be living with credit all the time. We are realistic that you can't get into a house without, at least probably some, but you just work diligently to get it paid off and come into it with as much as you can. But we've never seen God fail us. It's true, Okay.
So, were we offended by that question? Absolutely not. We used it as an opportunity to further teach about debt freedom. And something that just occurred to me, a lot of the people that were offended by that comment said something like, you don't owe anyone an explanation about your finances. Well, actually, we kind of do. Because we have already made our finances, not how much money we make, but our financial principles, we have already made them public here. Does that make sense? And so this is just like using our finances as an example to teach the principles that we're teaching. So anyway.
And, and the amounts of things doesn't really matter. What matters is that we're finally in a place, and have been for a while now, where we can live on less than we earn.
Right.
And so we're able now
And
to use that extra, as long as we're careful about it, to do things that really wouldn't have been very possible for us before.
And those principles of living below your means for a better life apply whether you earn $40,000 a year or $400,000 a year.
What are the statistics, as a motorcyclist reply, what are the statistics with people that have won the big lotteries? Within 3 years, like 75% are bankrupt?
Yeah.
I don't want to just grab something out of the air, but it was a very big number, 75%, 90%. And that's because no matter how much money you have, if you spend more than you have, you're going to be in trouble.
Right.
You know, whether that's the $10 from mom for allowance or $1 million lottery, you know, people can get messed up no matter how much.
So there you go. Live debt-free, live below your means, save for a much more positive financial future. And that's the way to do it.
A lot less stress.
And a lot less stress.
Yes. I do not have stress from being really, really busy or having way tons to do. But when I have to do something when I'm required and expected to do something that I can't, you know, which was how things were when all of a sudden everything crashed. That can become very stressful.
Yeah.
So don't want to ever be there again.
So I hope that has been helpful in explaining our philosophy of teaching and our philosophy of debt freedom and why we answered that question.
And that we love y'all.
Absolutely.
You know, we love the ones that are wondering. We love the ones that are got our back. We love all the people that are like, well, no, this really did help. You know, we're real people. You guys are real people, and I love that we can have dialogue. It's good.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
We love you. We will absolutely see you soon. I'm excited about my new room.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.